Hi! Today I'm going to do a review on Beatrice and Virgil by Yann Martel. You may recognise this author as he's also wrote The Life of Pi, which won the Man Booker Prize in 2009, and it's also one of my favourite books, which is why I was very excited to read this book, and I was pleasantly surprised. It tells the story of a man called Henry who is trying to make it in the writing world. He keeps getting rejected by publishers though, and this is why this book has been criticised a little by critics, as people have found parallels between Henry, the main character, and Yann Martel himself, and some critics have said this is a bit self-indulgent. I don't think this is true, however, because as I like writing myself, I know how hard it's going to be to actually get into that sort of world, and I think writing about something that's true to you, which is what people always recommend, is what makes stories very truthful and likeable, and I don't think Yann Martel can be criticised for this. However, one thing I did find quite shocking about what the critics were saying was how provocative and quite disturbing and offensive this novel could be considered to be. Henry receives a parcel from this man who turns out to be a taxidermist, and that is who Beatrice and Virgil are, the main characters in the story within a story, as the taxidermist writes a play where the main characters are the talking donkey and the talking monkey. These characters can also be interpreted as representing the Jews of the Holocaust, as I'm not going to give any spoilers, but this could be quite offensive. Also, the religious overtones of this book, with Beatrice and Virgil being the characters that guided Dante through heaven in his Divine Comedy, is such a raw way to represent a book about the Holocaust. This creates a very edgy, controversial novel, which I think some people might find goes a little bit too far. However, I really like this book. I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5 because I didn't think it was quite enough for 4, but it was definitely not a 3. And another really silly thing I like about this book is that Henry plays the clarinet, and so do I, so go Team Henry. The things that didn't quite make it a 4 for me was the character of Henry's wife. I found her quite plastic and two-dimensional. I didn't really believe her or the way she was written. Another thing that made me really like this book was the ending. I'm not going to spoil it, but it was very powerful. Games for Gustav. I don't believe they're spoilery because they are just literally moral questions, which you won't really understand unless you read the book and finish it. I'll read one out to you. Game number 9 is afterwards, when it's all over, you meet God. What do you say to God? It's just the way that this book addresses the massive taboo of the Holocaust and what is the most tragic event in history, and how you represent that now. As time goes on, Yann Martel is questioning how do we tell this story respectfully but also truthfully. And game number 13, I don't know if you can see that, is blank, which I think is the perfect way to finish the book, because he hasn't really come to any conclusion himself. He's left it open, which I think why is he can't be criticised for trying to write about such a touchy subject. As Yann Martel is one of my favourite authors, as I've already mentioned, this book I really enjoyed. I really like it. I would definitely want to read it again. It gets 3.5 stars. I would recommend it to teenagers and up. I think it's a brilliant book. So that was my review of Beatrice and Virgil by Yann Martel. I'll see you soon, guys. Bye!